Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Rachel and I am knitting. Not right now, but most of the time. And in fact, I have been doing some knitting. I have been working on my Florencia top by Claudia of Uknit Co. Claudia is a knitwear designer and yarn shop owner based out of Canada, and she reached out to me to see if I wanted to participate in the Florencia knit along, and of course I did. So they sent me a kit to make it myself. This is Knitting for Olive in soft blue, and the base is the cotton merino blend. So I'll grab a skein in a minute and look at the label for the exact fiber content and yardage. But all this to say, I have this relatively new project. Right now I am working on the first sleeve. Let's just take a minute and say it. Something that's really nice about this pattern, the Florencia pattern, is that you knit the two sleeves first. So I didn't gauge swatch, okay? I didn't gauge swatch. So this is going to function as my swatch. Once I knit this first sleeve, I'm going to block it and determine my gauge. From there, I'll know if I can continue knitting the size I chose to cast on, or if I need to make adjustments to knit a different size, or if I just need to completely start over. But hopefully that third option is not what ends up being what I need to do. But back to the main point is I recently started this project and I want to make a project page for it on Ravelry. So I thought I would take you along in case you are not sure how to add a project to your Ravelry profile. I'll walk you through the process and you can make a project page for yourself following this video. So let's switch over to a Zoom recording of me showing you on my screen. Okay, welcome to the Zoom universe. It looks like I'm at my family cabin, but it's just my background because I don't know, it's my favorite place in the world. So why not pretend I'm there? Okay, so focus. I am going to be poking around Ravelry and showing you how to make your very own project page. So just a disclaimer, I know Ravelry is not for everybody. So if it's not for you, I am going to be clicking around and showing a lot of different moving pieces of Ravelry. So just keep that in mind as you are watching the video. If you need to click out, totally understandable. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize myself so you don't have to look at me when I'm going to be blocking the view of what you need to see. All right, so I am on the Ravelry homepage, and I got there just by typing ravelry.com into my browser window. On the upper right-hand side, there are a few different ways to access your project page, but I like to do it from here. So I hover my mouse over the My Notebook button, and I go to the first option, which is projects, and go ahead and give that a click. Once you are on your project page, you will see all of the projects that you have entered. So yours may look differently than mine. In fact, it undoubtedly does look differently than mine because we have not made all the same projects, and I didn't model them for you. So, I don't think I'll be blocking you anymore if I put my face. So here I am back again. All right, so focus. Your project page is going to look a little differently than mine, to be sure, but the functions will all be the same. So on the left-hand side, you are going to see two buttons. One that's like a turquoise, add a project button, and one that is like a salmon, advanced search button. So the add a project is exactly what it sounds like. If you click on it, this is basically like creating a new file, creating a new document in Microsoft Word, or composing a new email, but you are creating a new project page, essentially adding a new file to your folder of projects. So for mine, I am making a project for my Florencia. So I already know that it is knitting. If it were a different type of fiber art or fiber craft, I could simply click on that drop down menu and select whatever applicable craft it was. Mine is knitting, so I'm going to have it as knitting. And I will just say my Florencia is, I'll call it the soft blue Florencia. And I'll say Rachel's soft blue Florencia. Okay, so you can name this anything you want. You don't have to have it be the same name as the pattern name. When you're naming your project, you are christening it with its own name. So you could say, this is my Merkle Durkle Furkle sweater or whatever. You could say, this is my secret project for Christmas sweater or whatever. You can name it anything you want. Now, after you've entered your pattern name, you can say if you used a pattern or if you didn't use a pattern. So for instance, if you're just freestyling something, you might say you didn't use a pattern. Or if you find a pattern that's maybe like in an ancient book from, I don't know, that you found washed ashore one day, that pattern's not going to be in Ravelry, so you would select that. But I am using a pattern that is in Ravelry, so I'm going to select that option, and I'm just going to start searching the name of my pattern. I'm going to click continue, even though I may not have the name exactly correct. Once I click continue, it's going to take me to basically a search engine page that's going to bring up all of the patterns that have similar or the same name that I typed in for pattern name. And look, there it is right here at the top, Florencia by Claudia Quintanilla. Or it might be Quintanilla, I'm not sure. But this is the correct pattern that I'm using. So I'm going to say, choose this pattern. And now it has populated a semi-blank project page for me then to fill in. So there's all sorts of attributes that you can put into your project. And in fact, when you are first making your project page, you might not have any attributes to add. You might not know anything about your gauge or who it's made for, but there are probably, more than likely, some attributes that you will know. So I know that I am making this for myself. It's staying in my house. All right. If I were making it for someone else, for a fellow maker, and they have a Ravelry, I could link to their Ravelry page. So since this is a knit along, there is a specific start date, which was July 14th, and there is a specific end date. And in this case, the knit along ends on August 31st, 2023. It's my goal to finish this in that time, but I'm not sure if that will end up happening, but that is my goal. So that's what I'm going to enter on the project page. Now, the next item is the size made. So let me look at my project notes for when I'm making this, and it looks like I decided to cast on where are you, size? Okay, size 7. So I'm knitting the size 7, and I'm just going to write size 7. Pattern category, you can, be as detailed or as vague as you want with these. I'm just going to go ahead and put it in as a tee. I'm not sure if you would call it a tee or a sweater or what, but that's what I'm doing. I don't know my gauge yet, so I'm not going to put that in because I haven't determined my gauge. And if you know that your pattern or that your gauge matches that gauge listed in the pattern, you can simply click fill gauge in from pattern and it will auto populate that for you. But again, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what my gauge is yet, so I'm just going to delete that. Now, something I skipped on accident was needles. So I'm going to say what needle I'm using, and I know that I'm using the needles that are called for in the pattern. For the ribbing, I'm using a US 3/3.25 millimeter needle. And for the main body, I have been using a US 4 3.5 millimeter needle. Okay, so I have all the information so far on this middle section that I need, or that I know right now that I can put in. For project notes, I'm saying started with first sleeve, and we'll use that to determine gauge. So I have that note to myself. Basically, future Rachel can read this and say, oh yeah, okay, so I still need to determine my gauge before I move forward after determining my gauge. Okay, so the next thing you can do if you want to add private notes, I have never used this feature, but I assume this is, if you want to tell yourself secrets that you don't want all of Ravelry to see, then you would do so in the private notes section. All right, now on the right-hand portion of your project page, you have the status of your project, how you're feeling about your project, progress, the day you started, and the day you completed it. So I started this, let's see, I got home, I started it, when did I get home? I got home on a Sunday, and so I think I started it on July 18th. So a few days after the cast on day for the make along, but I wasn't home and I didn't have my yarn on that day. So that's why I cast on a few days later. So far, I'm loving it. So I'm just going to say I'm the happiest I can be. The progress is, I'll say, I don't know, 5%, barely anything. And the next thing you can do is add a photo. I do not have a photo of my work in progress, so I'm just going to take one right now. I'm going to airdrop it to my computer, and once it goes through the airwaves, I am going to add it. Okay, so to add a photo or photos to your project page, and this is totally optional, you're going to, would you believe it, click add photos. And this is going to pull up your photo, I don't know, upload page. So you can pick upload from your computer, from Instagram, Google, Flickr, from a URL, etc., etc. I'm going to upload from my computer, so I'm going to click choose files. Once I click choose files, I will then be able to pick from the files I want. And once I've selected the image I want, I'll just click upload now. There are a few, I think, kind of cumbersome steps to uploading images to your project page. You have to go through several different parts. You can edit this, you can add a caption, you can crop it, but I don't need to do any of that, so I'm going to go ahead and click finished with photos. And now I'm simply going to scroll down and click save changes. And now that is my standing project page for my Florencia. When I want to go to update it, so let's say I finish the sleeve, I block it, I check my gauge, and I want to update it, then I'm simply going to edit this project page by going up towards the top and clicking edit. It has a little pencil symbol next to it, and then you can edit as needed. So if you edit more, just make sure you save your changes, because otherwise they will disappear. Now, if I go back to my notebook and I click on my project page, you'll see that my Florencia project, it's listed as a work in progress or a WIP, and it's right there. It says it's 5% done, and you can see several other projects here that are WIPs. And yeah, so that gives you a feel of how to add your project to Ravelry. Okay, that's how you do it. That's how you add a new project to your Ravelry project library. If you have other questions about this or about Ravelry in general, drop them down in the comments. I know Ravelry as a platform can kind of be intimidating. It can definitely be overwhelming, so let me help you demystify it. Let me know what you need assistance with. Also, if this was helpful, I would so appreciate if you liked this video and subscribe to my channel. You can turn that notification bell on if you'd like to be notified when I upload next. And don't forget to head over to Instagram and follow me at Rachel is Knitting if you don't already. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.